So the reason that we built this trellis is that in the past, our raspberry plants would grow out and down, and it was annoying to have to bend over a lot to pick the berries and have to reach far into the middle of the row to pick those. So what this will do is you'll have a wire that's 2 feet from the ground and 5 feet from the ground, and your plants will grow up inside of that, and you'll be able to pick the berries easily along the edge, and you won't have to reach very far to pick the ones in the middle of the row. All right, here we go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to cut your pieces. Your end post should be 7.5 foot long so that those can go 2.5 foot in the ground and stick up about 5 feet. And the ones in the row don't have to be quite as long because we're going to pound those in. So those should be about 6.5 foot long, and you can pound those down about 1.5 foot into the ground. Your cross beam should be 3 foot long for the top ones and 2 foot long for the bottom ones. And obviously for the end ones, you're going to be doing those with some sturdy lumber or some 4x4s. And for the ones in the row, you're just going to be using the treated 2x4 lumber. I'm using 5/16 eye bolts for the wire to attach onto. So I'm drilling 3/8 holes about 1 inch from each end of my crossbars, and that'll make it nice and easy to slide those eye bolts in there. Now I'm going to be drilling the holes for my lags to lag it onto the 4x4 upright posts. So I'm going to be drilling 5/16 holes for those lags to go through, and I'm going to be putting 2 lags in each one and then 2 3-inch screws in each one. I didn't have enough lags, and 2 of them should hold it on fine, and then those 3-inch screws will also just help hold it on there nice and straight and tight. Now I'm going to attach them onto the post, and what I want is for it to end up being my top one 5 foot up from the ground and the bottom one 2 feet up from the ground. Now I'll basically be doing the same thing for the posts that go in the row, except I'm just using 2x4 uprights and 2x4 treated 2x4 cross beams. So I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole about 1 inch from each end, just the same as where those eye bolts went, and that's just going to be a hole for the wire to be threaded through. So same thing, just need 2x4s that are 3 feet long for the top, 2 feet for the bottom, and fastened onto a 2x4 post with 3-inch screws. Now we're ready to dig the holes and put up our trellis. Okay, so we've made our trellis posts. We're gonna set them in the ground. I would have liked to go about 2.5 feet deep, but we hit right beside one of our septic lines, so we're not gonna go quite as deep on this one. Anyways, set these posts, we'll string up the wire.
6 of them.
Hey.
I'll give you $1 in quarters for an iced coffee. I don't have any money in my fund. I can rob quarters out of the van or something.
I'll do it for free if you give me recognition on the video.
Okay, we got all the posts pounded in. We're ready to stretch the wire. What I'm going to use here is just some galvanized electric fence wire. It's 14 gauge. It should be a little stronger, I don't know, but this is what we've got because we got a lot of electric fence around here. So we're going to use this, and I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. So here we go. Okay, we just finished making our trellis here, and I just want to make a little note about why our plants are so short, because we did plant these a couple years ago, but what we do is we cut them down to just a few inches above the soil first thing in the spring, and that does a couple things for us. One thing that it does is it helps control pests and disease, and the other thing it does, it makes so that you get a really good harvest in the fall, and basically you get one big fall harvest instead of, if you let them grow up and leave them that way, they will have just kind of a steady trickle of berries all year long. We like the bigger harvest in the fall. The other thing we do along our raspberries is we will mulch that. You can see on the side that there's these little shoots coming up. We will till those out, and then we will put mulch down beside it. Otherwise your patch will just get wider and wider, and it is too hard to pick the berries that are in the middle and stuff. So we keep our patch nice and narrow. That'll also make so we can then train the plants to go up in between the wires here. Last year we did all of our picking with them draped way down like that, and it was really hard, so we're hoping for a lot better success this year and easier harvesting by training them to go inside of these wires, and we'll see how it goes and we'll let you know. Hey everybody, so it's been a few weeks since we put up our raspberry trellis here, and as you can see the plants are really growing. They're looking great, and they're starting to get up past this bottom wire here. So there's a couple things we need to do. First of all, I tilled along the outside edge where the garden meets the lawn just to keep the grass out. And now what I want to do is I want to take this wheel hoe on both sides of the raspberry patch with this sweep sticking out to just cut off some of the shoots that are coming up on the outside. You don't want your patch getting too wide. If it does, a couple things happen with that. It will make so you won't even be able to get to the berries that are in the middle, the center of the patch. And also, it will just make so there's not as much airflow going through there. So I want to take some of those outside shoots off just to narrow the row down a little bit. And then after I do that, we're going to tuck these that are close in there inside of the wire here, because that's the point of the wire, to hold it in nice and then get it up to this top one so that everything stays nice and straight inside the wire, so it'll be easy to pick the berries later on. And after we do all that, we're going to put some leaf mulch down beside it, and then we'll let it keep growing. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm not tucking everything in. You can see some of these are still on the outside. I'm afraid if we tuck everything in that it'll get really packed in the middle there, and then it will just be too stuffed and suffocated and not get the airflow and sunlight that it needs. So basically just the ones that are kind of underneath where the wires are that are sticking out, I'm tucking some of those in and leaving some of the others out. As you go to pick them, you should be able to just pull some of them away to get to these middle ones. It's just to get the main bulk of them growing up through the middle so that it makes it easier to pick. Another thing I'll mention is that you can see that some of them are getting pretty tall, and some of them that are sticking out here, to get them tucked in there is pretty hard. They're getting close to breaking off and stuff. You don't want to have them breaking off, so I'd say this is the very longest that we should have waited for this. If anything, we should have done this just a little bit sooner.